Hey, my friends, welcome back to Body Led by Design. Before we get into today's episode, if this series is hitting home and you're ready to actually do this work with support, I want you to get on the waitlist for Well Nourished. It's my 6-month body recomposition program for women in midlife, and it opens for enrollment in September. Waitlist members get first access to enrollment consultations, plus an enrollment bonus and discount when you sign up in September. So make sure to go to melissaikewellness.com/coaching. You can also DM me the word waitlist on Instagram and I'll send you everything, or just head to the show notes. Okay, my friends, today we're going to be talking about the fourth S inside of my success method. And this is everything that I teach, the core things inside of the Well Nourished program. So inside of the weight loss series, we really talked about safety. We also talked about the strategy behind discovering what your body needs to feel safe. That's through labs. Last week, we talked about strategic nutrition. And today we're talking about strength. And I want to open with something that I say to my clients all the time, and it really helps them and also me understand why this is so important. The muscle on your body is your 401k. The 401k is not something that you get to enjoy today. You put your money in and it goes away, right? And nothing really changes in your life today. But over time, it compounds slowly so that in decades, you have the thing that you need when it's there. And muscle works the same way. It's not that you see the immediate benefit. You feel the immediate benefit when you do strength training. You feel better afterwards. However, in order to really get what we want out of muscle, which is longevity and health and metabolic health, it takes a long time to build, especially for women. The good news is that you're listening to this, you are in midlife, you have some muscle on your body. You're not starting from ground zero. And also muscle has beautiful memory. So even if you've taken a break from strength training, just know that you usually come back to strength training so much faster than when you initially probably started strength training. But muscle is the single thing that will keep you the healthiest, the longest. Because what muscle is actually doing for you is not only keeping you very healthy, it's regulating your blood sugar naturally, it's keeping your metabolism healthy. If you're using a GLP, which I know many of you are, it allows you to use a lower dose, it alleviates side effects, it improves the entire outcome of your medication, but also it keeps you mobile. It keeps you up off the ground if you're an old lady. It helps you prevent falls and from breaking a leg or a hip, which later on in life is one of the biggest threats to ever walking independently again. And when I'm lifting weights, I'm not thinking about, oh, I hope that this makes my body as small as it can be. I hope I'm skinnier. I'm thinking about how this is going to pay off for me in 30 or 40 years. I'm going to be mobile. I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be living on my own. And honestly, one of the things that I want most in my life is to have as many dogs as I possibly can. And I don't want my adult children to take my dogs away because they're afraid that I'll trip over it and break a hip. And if I'm moving and grooving and I'm independent, nobody's taking my dog from me. That's the 401k. That's what I'm investing in every time that I pick up a weight and lift heavy. At this point, I think most of us have learned that lifting weights won't make you bulky, but I do want to put this in here because I think if there's this underlying fear that maybe it's not bulkiness, but maybe it's something more than what you think that you want, that you're going to have to do more work and get an outcome that you didn't actually want this for, right? I'm afraid of working hard and getting more than what I need. Let me put that fear to rest. It's very difficult for women to get more than what they need. It's very difficult for women to get bulky. And if you're someone who puts on muscle easily, that's great. And I'm happy for you. Most of us don't. Most of us have to be very purposeful, be very intentional about our workouts. It does not happen by accident. And also on the other side of this, nobody wants to be skinny fat. Right? When women come to me, they want body composition change. They want to be able to see the muscle on their body. They want to be able to enjoy how their body looks and how their clothes fit and to be able to have the curves that muscle gives them. And that's what we want, right? We want to have the visibility of muscle and the shape that muscle gives our body as well. But the problem I see when women are going out and doing their workouts or doing their quote unquote strength training is that you show up, but you don't actually see or feel that your workouts are giving back to you, either in the amount of work that you're putting in, the amount of time that you're putting in. It's not a fruitful thing, right? Like I don't really see anything coming back for me. And that tells me something, because if you are a living, breathing person listening to this podcast, which you are, means you have a capable body, and you have a capable body that is capable of building muscle. It's not that you're too old. It's not that you're too weak. It's not that anything is wrong with you. It's that you're not being strategic about your weightlifting. What I often see women coming to me is doing something like Pilates. Well, Pilates is fine when you use it maybe as a supplemental thing to your strength training, but using it as the sole way of putting muscle on your body is not going to be fruitful, because Pilates will isolate one small muscle group at a time. Whereas traditional strength training with barbells and dumbbells works your large muscle groups, plus all of the stabilizing muscles around them. When you do a squat or a row, you're not just training one thing, you're training many things at once. That's more muscle worked per minute of your time. And another one I see often is a hot sculpt class. Your capacity to lift heavy is dramatically lower in heat. Heat is great for sweating. It's not great for strength training. You're leaving so much strength on the table by lifting in a hot room, and you're spending energy on the heat itself that never gives back to you. In my opinion, it's one of, honestly, the biggest waste of your time. Sorry, that's my true opinion. Now, if you love hot yoga, you love hot sculpt, that's totally fine. Use it again as a supportive workout, not the core of your training. I'm still not going to change my mind even though you love it. The other thing that I see is grabbing whatever weight is closest or convenient or that you're used to lifting and following along in a structured class, group fitness, online, things like that. Yes, that's movement, and movement is always good, but it is not strength training because there's no strategy behind that load. Stop lifting the familiar weight. Real strength training means progressive overload, putting enough load on the muscle that it breaks down so it rebuilds stronger in between your sessions. That's what gives you the most muscle in the least amount of time and energy, which is what you need. And in midlife, your energy is so precious. So your workout really needs to be strategic, efficient. It needs to count when you're doing it. And also, speaking of like different types of workouts, let's give a little bit of airtime to cardio. Many women will lean on cardio for weight loss. Cardio is wonderful for your heart. I want low impact cardio in your life. But when you use hard cardio as your weight loss tool, you're really asking more of your body than it can recover from. And it becomes a taking exercise instead of a giving back exercise, because it takes energy, it adds stress. It really doesn't give a whole lot back to your metabolism. Strength training, when done right, is the giving back exercise because it builds and it creates that metabolism. It creates that foundation that your body needs to be able to shift into a fat burning state. So how do you actually know if your strength training is giving back to you? Well, you measure it. I am all for tracking and measuring your actual workouts that you're doing and tracking and measuring the physical body composition changes. So tracking your workouts. If you can see that you're lifting more over time, you know that you're getting stronger. It's very easy. There are many ways to progress beyond just going from a 12-pound dumbbell to a 15-pound dumbbell. You can add a set. You can add reps. You can decrease your rest time. You can add tempo. There's a lot of creative ways that you can utilize to get more load on that muscle without just going from 12 to 15 pounds, for example. Because many times women will think, I'm not getting stronger because I can't move from 12 to 15 pounds. Well, for some muscle groups, that's a really big jump. And if we just keep trying to lift a heavier weight, we're going to get really frustrated and think we can't do it and we can't get stronger. You want to get like a little more creative on, can you lower the weight for a longer amount of time versus 1 second, right? So if you're doing lateral raises, which are so hard to go into progressive overload, like I feel like I lift 10-pound dumbbells for most of my life, but instead of just letting those weights drop, like in a 1 second, like from the raise down, instead of a 1 second lower, can I do a 3 second lower? I'm still lifting 10 pounds, but I'm putting more time under tension with that muscle group. And so there are a lot of different ways, and that's what will actually allow me to go from 10 pounds to 12 pounds at some point. And then the other thing is to measure your body composition using like something like an InBody scan, a DEXA scan, measurement, photos, and even like an at-home body composition scale. It's not necessarily going to be perfectly accurate, but you will see trends. And when you're strategic, you can watch your body change in the data. One of the ways that can be really like fruitful in how you're seeing yourself progress is through the data inside of your workouts. Because many times, like waiting to see that body composition change is far longer than our brain really wants it to be. But the truth is, like, that's the reality. It just takes time. But aborting mission because your brain thinks it's taking too long is not actually going to get you your result. You're going to stop before you ever get your result. You may as well just keep going. So one of the ways to get yourself to keep going, to be able to see the actual physical changes on your body, is to be able to look at the data of your workouts. And that's why I so strongly recommend tracking your workouts. I had a client come to me, or I have a client that really struggled with the belief that she was not good at working out. She never saw herself as a fit person. So showing up to it felt like a big struggle. She had tried group settings before, and I love a group atmosphere. It can be really supportive, but for her, it just kind of reinforced the belief that she wasn't good at it because she was comparing herself. So you don't need to actually be good at working out to build muscle. That's great news. You actually just need a plan. Now she works at home alone with her weights and her app. And what she discovered is, I don't need to be good at this. All I have to do is find one way to make this a little bit harder than last week. And so she's taking the data inside of her workouts and proving to herself that she is actually good at it. She is actually doing what she needs to do to put muscle on her body. And when you compound that week after week, you watch yourself build strength in real time in the data of your workouts before the mirror actually catches up to you and you're able to maybe see that hard work come into place. It will come. You just have to stick with it long enough. And sometimes we just need a different way to reinforce to our minds that there is changes happening while we wait to see it with our eyes. And that's the beautiful part, because data can motivate you. Body composition change takes time to see in the mirror, but your numbers change fast when you're tracking your workouts. And when the muscle comes, losing body fat becomes so much easier and so much more efficient. Now, some of you might be listening and thinking, I already do all of this. I know what progressive overload is. It's still not working, or I'm losing muscle. Here is what's happening. The way we build muscle is not just what you do in the workout itself. It's how you recover. You're breaking your body down in the workout. That's what we're going in to do. We're breaking down the muscle. But what's happening is that you may not be giving your body what it needs to rebuild in between. Maybe hormones are not on your side. You might not be sleeping well enough at night. Maybe you're not eating enough or eating strategically around your workouts. That's really important, is that you're eating both before and after your workouts. Maybe your stress is incredibly high. And to your body, what this looks like is, I don't have the raw material to rebuild this muscle. I don't have enough deep sleep to rebuild this muscle. There's not enough time to rebuild this muscle. I don't feel safe enough to spend the resources that I have here to build muscle. You can't build muscle on top of a body that isn't safe. All of the S's that I talk about are foundational to each other. Strategic nutrition feeds your strength work. Sleep is where the rebuilding happens. Stress determines whether your body will invest in muscle at all. If you're doing everything right in the gym and it's not working, you're just missing the other S's. And that's exactly what we're going to do in the next 2 episodes. So make sure to come back and listen to those. So here's what I want you to do from today. Remember that muscle is your 401k. It compounds slowly, it pays off for decades, and it's a thing that keeps you mobile, independent, metabolically healthy, and probably keeping your dog living with you when you're 80 years old. And if you ask yourself, honestly, is what am I doing real progressive overload, or is this just movement and I'm calling it strength training? And also, is my body recovering enough to actually rebuild from it? Remember, that's what we do inside of my Well Nourished program, the 6-month body recomposition program for women in midlife. And we build the foundation first so your body can actually do this work. Remember, enrollment opens in September and you'll want to get on the waitlist as soon as possible. The waitlist is in the show notes. You can also go to my website, melissaikewellness.com/coaching, or head to Instagram and DM me the word waitlist and I'll send you the link right there. All right, my friends, I will see you next week.